you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Happy Thursday, guys. Welcome to Wager Talk TV. This is Stoppage Time. It's the World Cup final show. We are going to look at the World Cup final everyone was looking forward to or hoping would happen. Defending champions France taking on Argentina, and Lionel Messi making his final international start as he'll retire from the Argentinian team after this one. We're also going to look at the third place game that goes on Saturday. The ribbon game, as I call it, as Croatia takes on Morocco. And both these games are at 10 o'clock Eastern time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, which is great as well, too. Some early football action. With me, we're going to do a roundtable on this game, everyone. With me from wagertalk.com, it's Nick Borrman and Kevin Dolan. And, of course, the prop master himself, the man, he's been hitting props in this World Cup like no man I know. And yet I haven't gotten any one of them because the guy just does not text me, but whatever. Pavlos, Laguretos, boys, welcome to the show. This is our penultimate show, guys. We are going to come back, do one more show for 2022 on Thursday, December 22nd, where we're going to cover the Monday EPL Boxing Day games. And then we're going to call it, we're going to call it for 2022. You guys are going to enjoy the holidays, or you guys are going to drink some champagne to celebrate all your wins and open some presents, and then we'll kick it off again in 2023 because we've got Champions League that kicks off. We got the transfer window, and we have all the seasons right back at it. So, Pavlos, I'm going to go to you first, man, because you're looking. You got some nice bright colors happening there.
Yeah, I'm at a new venue right now. Just traveled to Athens. You know, I feel bad for Morocco, to be honest. I feel really bad for Morocco. They played really nicely in that second half against France. France were, they were looking flabbergasted. I think that's the right word. They were looking like really scared. But I think the big news from that match was the terrible officiating by that referee. I mean, he only gave out one card, and that foul was the other way. So Amrabat did the handball. There were players chirping at him. Hakimi was like very, very disrespectful to him. There was at least a couple of occasions where if Colina, for example, was at the whistle, he would have gotten a yellow card for easily. So terrible officiating. Good reaction by Morocco after the after that first half. But France, they showed their defensive weaknesses once again, because France, they've kept just 2 clean sheets in the last 12 matches in all competitions, and if Morocco had just a bit more quality up front, because they did create several chances, I think they could have easily hurt this French defense. And now I wonder what's going to happen when Messi comes to town. When they're up against Messi, who is not, he's not gonna be. He just needs one slimmer of, just one.
This is the longest hello you've ever given us, Pavlos.
Oh, hello.
This was just supposed to be on the low part of the show. Pavlos went straight into his analysis of this game. It's like he's got to leave. He's got like a noontime date or something like that with the time change or what have you. But that's pretty funny. We are going to get into the games a bit, but I just wanted to see how the guys are doing. Nick Borrman, how's it going on your end, my friend?
Things are good. They're quiet. Obviously, not a lot going on in the soccer world besides this, and golf's quiet now for a couple weeks until January. So all's good. It's quiet. I'm going to enjoy the time off. It was profitable in both semifinal games, so hopefully we carry that over here to the final. But yeah, all is good, and I'm going to spend some time drinking for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you've got a growing family there in the U.S. So it's gonna be a Merry Christmas in the Borrman residence. I'm sure. Kev, final word on the introductions. In less than 5 minutes, like Pavlos there. But how are things with you?
Yeah, all good. Carmine had a winner on France last night. We hit that plus 300 prop on Tuesday, show Messi to be first goal scorer as well. But still, still a bit disappointed, obviously, with the way our 5% play went on Tuesday on Croatia. I thought it was a great line, plus 105, plus a half a goal. Looked good early, obviously. Croatia were passing around well at the back, looked composed. I'm not going to do a full detailed analysis like Pavlos just did. But it goes to show how tight these games are. Messi hardly had a touch on the ball over the first half an hour. And look, it's been debated back and forth, whichever side of the debate you're on, whether, it was a penalty. But even if you thought it was a penalty, it was a harsh penalty. He wasn't going to score. He'd already took a shot. So the game was over. Croatia left playing catch-up and, the bet went down. But can't complain too much. We're 6-3. On big 5% releases over the World Cup, 4-5% releases over the World Cup. So that's pretty good. 12-5 totals run as well. And we've got that plus 650 ticket on France as well. So happy with that they're obviously in the final. I would have preferred like a France-Brazil final, for instance, where I got 2 futures tickets. But, that'd just be greedy. But, hopefully that's something we can cash this weekend on Les Blues to win back-to-back crowns.
Yeah, they usually say, let's go get the bread. In this case, let's go get the croissants and baguettes. It's the same thing, just a different terminology. And, I'm stuck in that futures thing as well, too. Obviously stuck in a good position. I've got France in a future. I have Mbappe as the top scorer in a future as well, too, at 8-1. He's 1 assist back of Lionel Messi. So it's an interesting thing, Kev, because I'm going to put a play out to my clients, but it's going to be one that I have to make sure that people who are now buying plays do not play this play. I need my clients who bought the World Cup package to understand that there is a possibility that we can kind of hedge it out. I know you're not a big hedge fan, but right now, Messi to win the top goal scorer is minus 105 and minus 110 at some places. So it looks like a slight hedge, but it's a slight hedge with a little bit of peril to it because neither one of those two could win the top goal scorer if Julian Alvarez or Giroud get a couple goals. They'll leapfrog them to 6 goals. Provided that Mbappe and Messi don't get any goals in the finals. So, and with a total at 2, you just never know. So that's the little caveat in the whole thing. So I've got to figure it out, word it properly, and then leave it up to the clients to decide what they want to do and write it out. I know I'll put in there, Kev says just to write it out. Don't be a gardener. No hedging required. But so there's no sense in me putting on. I wanted to do this kind of roundtable, and then we'll put up an image at the end with who we think is going to win the World Cup. But let's look at the 3rd place game first, guys. The odds on this one, I'll just throw them out there. Croatia, the favorites at plus 136. Morocco's plus 200. The draws plus 244, and then the total is 2.5 minus 115. Here's the thing, guys, and Nick, I'm going to go to you first. The toughest thing about betting this early, the 3rd place game, is you never know who's going to play. It is a consolation 3rd place game, and I remember going back to the World Cup of 2018 when it was England and Belgium in the 3rd place game for the 3rd time in that World Cup as they were in the same group, and everyone thought it's going to be a high-scoring game. They've got nothing to play for. It's a 3rd place game. And I think the final score, if I remember correctly, was it 2-0 for Belgium, I believe, in that one? And it was a game in which I don't think there were a lot of chances, Nick. It is so tough. The one thing here is I actually think this game means more to Morocco than it does to Croatia. And from that aspect, I almost feel like taking Morocco blindly, not even knowing who is going to play in this game. I think as far as Croatia goes, we're going to see some substitutions. I'm not sure as far as Morocco. Maybe Ziyech doesn't play. But Nick, give me your thoughts. Would you even take a side this early, or you wait until game day an hour before, see the lineups, and then make a decision then if there's nothing reported prior to that?
Yeah, it's hard to do anything right now, like you said with the lineups. If you're going to take a side, I would probably do exactly what you just said and go with Morocco. Just the world is with Morocco, right? Everybody's hearts are with Morocco. They're the team that everybody kind of fell in love with, and yeah, they've never been to this kind of a stage before, this level before. You got to think even just winning a third place now is pretty damn important to these guys. So that's my quick, like, if I'm just looking at it, not even really getting into it, I'm looking that way. But knowing that, what I would probably do, and I haven't really dove into it yet. I've dived more into the final, but not to the third place game yet. So what I would do, though, is start to look at props, corners maybe, shots on goal, that kind of stuff on Morocco's side and Croatia's side that would favor Morocco to be the better team. Scoring the goals, sometimes can be fluky in a soccer match. We all know that, of course. It doesn't always happen. The better team doesn't always win as far as who can create chances. But usually the team that's really pushing the issue and trying for something is going to be the team that is getting the corners, creating the chances, that kind of thing. So I don't have any specific numbers to throw out because I haven't looked at the corners market. I haven't looked at the total shots market. But what I would probably do is look to see what those numbers are and look to maybe back overs on the Moroccan side, because I think they really want to win this thing. And I think it means a lot to them to do so versus Croatia. Like you said, who knows what they're going to put out there and what they care about at this point. Now, finishing runner-up 4 years ago and third maybe this year. I don't know if they really care. So that's my suggestion for this, is to look at any sort of props that favor the Moroccan side. But if you're going to take just a side, then I would probably stick with Morocco to start with, unless something comes out later where they're not playing a lot of their guys too. But I expect they will.
All right, Nick Borrman. Pavlos, I'm going to go to you next because we haven't talked to you in a while, and I always love to hear your voice. Listen, these teams played on match day one in what ultimately turned out to be the group of death in the World Cup, Group F, that had Morocco, Croatia, Belgium, and Canada. And the game finished scoreless, 0-0. I think it obviously played a little differently just because of the fact that you look at that game and it's the first game of the group. I think teams want to get some type of a result, but there wasn't a lot to it. A couple of shots from each team, 6 attempts from Croatia, 8 attempts on goal from Morocco, only 5 corner kicks in that game, all Croatia's side, and only 1 yellow card that went to Morocco. From a prop point of view, there was a lot of under numbers that hit in that game. Do you see anything different in this one?
To be honest, there is no reason for these two teams to play defensively. I think Morocco will have more things to prove than Croatia, and Croatia, they have an aging midfield. These guys have played a lot of extra times, penalty kicks, and in a matter of in a span of just a few days. So one must question themselves: how are they going to play? Are they going to play? His mother's going to play. Maybe it's his farewell. Maybe that's his final match with the national team. To be honest, I like Morocco here. I like Morocco money line. I like Morocco within 90 minutes, and I think the price is right. But I'm not jumping on it yet because if Morocco, and I trust that they will, make some substitutes in their starting lineup, and I think Croatia will as well. Not a lot of them, but just a few of them. That would theoretically make Morocco weaker. So the price in Morocco might jump to a higher number. So I'm taking a piece for my personal, betting, not client wise. I'm taking a piece of Morocco right now, but I do believe that the price is going to shoot up a little bit. So maybe you can have some fun with a spread or something. But I do think that Morocco have more to prove. And this might seem like a meaningless match, but there's a lot of players who are playing for a new contract. They're playing to be seen. I think Morocco has more passion and more energy than Croatia at this stage. So I wouldn't be surprised if they won outright within the 90 minutes. I don't see a lot of cards. There's nothing really to fight for. So go easy on the cards. Fouls as well. I don't see a lot of them. So I think we'll see a very carefree match between the two sides. But I do think that, again, Morocco is going to win within 90 minutes, and the price is right.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you, Pavlos. And I've been looking for just scouring some of the sites to look for cards and stuff like that for futures, and a lot of them aren't out yet. Cards on some of the sites aren't even up yet because if I saw a sort of an inflated number, if I saw 4.5, and it's not going to be 4.5, it's going to be 3.5. But if I saw 4.5, I would definitely take the under because, as you said, I don't think it's going to be one of those affairs where it becomes heated. Kev, I'm going to go to you for the final word on at least on this third place game. Again, I could be wrong here. What it feels like to me is prior to COVID, there used to be, and they just started doing it again, the International Champions Cup, where it was the preseason where teams would come to Europe. And I traveled to New Jersey MetLife Stadium and I watched Juventus play against Barcelona at MetLife Stadium. And at the time, Neymar was on Brazil, and I get to the game. Neymar was on Barcelona. I get to the game, and I watched the players come out on the field, and Juventus basically put their whole bench to start the game, and Barcelona had their starters, and Neymar scores like two goals within the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game, I think. And in the second half, it was a reversal. Barcelona put their bench in, Juventus put their starters in, and this is what this game feels like to me, is that Croatia, to build on Pavlos' point, put their starters out there. Modric leaves at halftime to the applause of the fans and his supporters, and that's it. His international career is done. He at least walks off that way, and then we see a lot of subs in the second half. I still think it means more to Morocco, but give me your thoughts, Kev.
No, I agree, Carmine. But to be honest, I mean, I've always found the third place game, it is meaningless. And I always thought, maybe there's an avenue to go down the NBA route, have some kind of trick shot challenge, dribble challenge, get some flaming hoops out there. Robert Lewandowski, can he hit a 70-yard screamer through a flaming hoop, bicycle kick challenge, that kind of thing, just to liven it up, because no one cares about this game. But, you mentioned Luka Modric. He obviously came off, with about, 10 or 12 minutes left against Argentina on Tuesday. So, maybe his tournament's a wrap as it is. But in fairness to Croatia, they did go out and field a full-strength squad, I believe, in the last time they got to this stage. Was it their 1998 World Cup? Their debut World Cup as well, that great Davor Suker squad. And because of that, look, we have that situation with Morocco now where, that was Croatia's first World Cup. So they actually cared about the third place. And they went out there and performed, beat Netherlands, I believe. Jesus, I am getting old, 1998. So, you would imagine you're definitely going to give Morocco the edge in this one because while they obviously suffered some disappointment last night against France, they have the chance to solidify themselves as the third best team in the world. No one would have seen that coming prior to this tournament, and they're already seen as Africa's greatest ever side. So, yeah, definite motivational edge to Morocco in this one. But as you guys said as well, might want to wait until match day and see what we get with these lineups before jumping in with a full play.
All right, and just to throw that Pavlos type prop bet out to you, since some of us are leaning towards Morocco, a Morocco exact score 2-1 final pays 11-1. You might want to throw a couple slices of pizza on that one, and you'll be eating nicely if that actually hits. Morocco 2-1 exact score final at 11-1 odds. All right, guys, let's get into the game. Everyone is going to tune in to obviously watch, which is France and Argentina. So the opening odds on this one at circa, excuse me, were plus 180 for both sides. The draw at plus 210, I believe, and the totals at 2. Pavlos, I'm going to give you the lead on this one, Pavlos. Listen, it's the final everyone wants. We talked about it at the beginning. A lot of us have futures, mainly on France. Everyone wants Argentina to win. Well, almost everyone wants Argentina to win. They want the story to be Lionel Messi in his final international game, walking off the field with the trophy he has never won, the World Cup trophy. It completes the circle of all trophies. He's won the Champions League. He's won La Liga, Copa del Rey, the Copa America. The guy has everything except for this one here. Even if he doesn't win it, I think he goes down as the greatest of all time. It's a debate that only the fans can ever have. But for me, I'm hoping for France, but we will see. what actually happens. But give me your thoughts on this game, Pavlos. And if you have a prop bet, let us know what it is.
I actually do have a prop bet in this match, and I do see cards, a lot of cards. I went back, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 editions, prior editions of the World Cup, and there's always a lot of fouls in the finals. And I'm just going to load a couple of props for the foul section, but I think the over 23.5 fouls at minus 129, you can find it at Barstool Sports, I believe. It's a really nice way to go there. And of course, look for some Argentinian defenders to get some cards. I went all the way back to, I think, 2018, both in Copa America, in previous World Cups, and, in big games. This Argentina defense gets an awful lot of cards, especially this guy Acuna, which I'm going to say now, I do have a prop package loaded for the final. This is one of my plays, Acuna to be carded at plus 280. You can find that at DraftKings, of course. The guy is a lumberjack. He gets cards in the matches where it matters the most, and this one, he plays at the left flank. He's going to have probably the Bele to guard, so that's always a tricky task. And I do see a lot of cards, a lot of fouls. I don't really see something on the total. I think the total at 2 is just where it should be. If anything, I'm leaning towards the under. I wouldn't like France to win it, to be honest, but that's just me. And not because I have futures on Argentina to win. But as you said, Carmine, I would love to see Messi, even though he's kind of a prick. Sometimes he can be. He looks like a nice guy, but he's kind of a prick. But he's a legendary player, and he hasn't given me any reason to hate him. So I would love to see Lionel Messi with the golden statue in his hands, his farewell. It's almost poetic. So leaning towards Argentina on this one.
All right. So I'm making notes over here as you speak. So I've got for our T-shirts for next year, I've got I don't care who wins, and now I kind of like you, but you're a prick. That is going to be the couple of shirts that you'll be able to get on the Stoppage Time shopping channel in 2023, Pavlos. Nick, I can go to you. Listen, if this was one of those Christmas Hallmark movies, it is a 1-0 victory for Argentina, penalty kick, Lionel Messi in the 93rd and final minutes of the game. And it's a Panenka right down the middle, but this isn't a Hallmark movie. So give me your thoughts on this game.
Well, first of all, for Messi, he's a prick when he's instigated, which was certainly the Netherlands game and Van Gaal's comments before that match. But one prop market I was looking at that actually kind of goes against what Pavlos was saying. Fouls maybe, sure. I'm not really interested in the fouls, but on the card side of it, I actually don't think there's going to be many here, and let me explain why. I mean, first of all, this is a final, right? And the refs are very cautious, especially early in the game, to pull anything on those plays that tend to be borderline, right? Other matches, they might pull them pretty quickly, set a message, set a tone, whatever. Usually, they're a little bit more cautious here, especially when the tournament organizer is going to be, breathing down their necks to tell them to do that, because nobody wants the game to be affected by a bunch of yellows early on, and then players kind of have to change how they have to play. Now, listen, an egregious foul is an egregious foul, and it's going to get a card, but I'm just saying the times that there's those borderline challenges, I think the cards are going to stay in the pocket more often than not, especially early in the match. Then, the other thing I think that does come into play here, the two biggest faces in the world, let alone just this game with Messi and Mbappe, I mean, they're teammates. How does that play into this game? Does that affect it? Those are obviously very big leaders of these teams, and a lot of the guys are going to look at it. And these teams respect each other. This is not like a situation where there's bad blood between the sides going into it, like there was in Netherlands, Argentina, where there was 55 cards in that game. So they've both spoken highly of each other when asked during different interviews. And I think with leaders like Mbappe and Messi having full respect for each other, I think a lot of players will fall into the leads there as well. Listen, play on the field's gonna, once you get going and stuff gets hot on the field and contentious, then tempers flare. Things happen, I get it. But I just think there's a little bit of an edge on a couple different factors that kind of point to a low card total. And that's enough for me to say, you know what, maybe it's worth taking it. 4.5 cards is kind of like the standard right now. It's maybe minus 125, minus 130. So I figured you could try to, if you're going to play this market, then if it's going to be under, it's probably going to be a little bit more under than that. So I looked at under 3.5 cards, and you can get a big plus money number on that. It actually jumped up to plus 175 right now on FanDuel. So I like under 3.5 cards just for those reasons I said. I don't see a lot coming. Maybe very, very late, but again, even there, if it looks like it's going into extra time, players are not going to risk trying to get a card before they get an extra time. And remember, props in almost every single market we're going to talk about today or that you're going to find in any book is just for 90 minutes plus stoppage time, unless it says specifically it includes extra time, which most of them do not. So that's another reason I like this is if it's tied late or close late, players aren't going to take unnecessary risks to then have to play differently when it comes to extra time. So I like under corners going into this match.
All right, Nick Borrman and Nick, I like that one. And before I go to Kev, I like that one. And one of the reasons why is the good thing is Michael Oliver will not be officiating this match. He's been sent back to England, so he will not be the official. The leading official and it looks like he will be the official for the World Cup final is the Polish official, Szymon Marciniak. And he has officiated only 2 games in the World Cup this year. He did the France versus Denmark game and issued 2 yellows in that one. And he did the Argentina-Australia game and issued only a couple yellows in that game, I think. The France one, it was actually 3 yellows, 2 to Denmark, 1 to France. And in the Australia-Argentina game, 2 yellows to Australia, none to Argentina. So if and I agree with you in the sense of he's not going to want to give out yellows and then be in a position where he might have to give a second yellow to a player for a somewhat serious foul, and then obviously the red card that goes with that second yellow to a player. So you never want to be the official that decides a game. You want the teams to decide it. So again, if you see the yellow cards, I think at 4.5. I would probably lean to the under as well too in that. Kev, I left you for the rebuttal to Nick as the on this World Cup one. Any thoughts?
There's going to be no rebuttal, Carmine. I quite like his play as well, although I definitely have to buy one of Pavlos' T-shirts because that's exactly how I feel about Nick. That's exactly how I feel about Nick. I won't mention it again. Yeah, he's I like him, but he's a bit of a what, like. But I just hope we get a similar game to how they played, in the 2018 World Cup. That was a great back and forth game. Argentina arguably should have won. They were doing a lot more offensively, but and this could play a factor here. Mbappe was so clinical. And he's arguably even better now. He bagged 2 goals in that game to get France the win. So, this is likely to be another great game in this one. Argentina looked good against Croatia. Too good, unfortunately, for me. But, nonetheless, about Argentina, they did need that opener to finally get them going in that one. They didn't look great over the first 30 minutes. Like I said at the start, Messi didn't do anything. I don't think he hardly touched the ball over those first 30 minutes as well. So, when you start to delve into Argentina and something we've been looking at across the tournament, what have they really done? They beat a fairly average Netherlands side who I don't really remember, maybe you guys do, but I don't remember a poorer looking Netherlands side than this current one. I mean, even the Ireland team that knocked them out in the World Cup qualifying back in 2001, I think that was a better Netherlands team than this current version. No disrespect to the USA, obviously, but I think anyone watching this current Netherlands side knew they weren't going to do a whole pile in this tournament. And even then, Argentina almost, made a ham of that. Beyond that, they beat Australia, whoop-de-doo, struggled against Mexico, obviously lost to Saudi Arabia, but that was obviously more of an anomaly in fairness. But, the same questions just remain for me about this Argentina team, namely that they haven't really impressed me so far over this competition. I think they've been very negative in their play. Something Pavlos mentioned about Messi's style sometimes on the field. But then again, what's interesting about this game is, France haven't been all that impressive either. And, it's not a new thing. So if Argentina won, it wouldn't surprise me. Look, if we go back to 2006, Italy struggled against the USA. They struggled against Australia, then went on to win the World Cup. So maybe they're starting to warm up. They took their time. but they really did play well. That was their best game by far against Croatia. So maybe they're picking at the right time. But, for me, even the futures aside, France are still the marginally better team for me overall. And as I said, that's despite them not playing that well either. I thought they were fairly average last night against Morocco. I thought England played the much better football over them in the quarterfinals as well. So it's almost like we got a final here with two of the most average good teams, if that makes sense, that I remember in a while. Just previous World Cups, France were brilliant in 2006, despite losing that final to Italy. Spain were dominant in 2010. Germany were dominant in 2014. You could argue France again in 2018. There just hasn't been that same kind of dominant team this time around for me. So, it really is anybody's game here on Sunday. As I said in the introduction, I'm already all over France in this one, obviously, with that futures ticket. That's where the future lies. So hopefully they can deliver that. And I will have a few prop plays up I like ahead of this weekend's game as well. I'll get those out by the end of the day or overnight, been focusing on NBA and NHL to start off the day. But, as Pavlos mentioned, the whole world seems to be intent on Messi finishing his career with a World Cup trophy, the one that's eluded him all these years. It would be a fairy tale ending to the career, no doubt. But, call me Scrooge McDuck. I want to see this World Cup go back to Paris and cash that futures ticket. So, France for me. And as I said, I'll get them prop bets up in a package before tomorrow.
All right, there you have it from Scrooge McDuck at Wager Talk TV. Listen, guys, we're going to do a very quick, and then we'll put a recap up at the end of who you're actually picking to win the World Cup. And this is the thing, is from a betting perspective, and this is a betting perspective show, of course. And we have future bets on these games, or we have future bets on players. If we didn't have the future bets, this is, as a footballing fan, it is quite possibly it is the best World Cup you could have had, because at the end of it, if you're watching the game with no money on it, I don't think you can make a point for. I think you make a point. I should say is whoever wins, I think it is good for football. France wins, and you're like, Mbappe, just an absolute great talent. That team, only the second team to ever win back-to-back World Cups. Fantastic. Argentina wins, and we're like, perfect walking off the stage for Lionel Messi, hoisting the trophy with Argentina. It is fantastic. It is whatever result it is, it's going to be a good one if you don't have any money on it. But we do have money on it. And with that said, listen, I would be disappointed not to see Lionel Messi hoisting that trophy. But given my futures, I still think it's France. This isn't a Hallmark movie with the happy ending at the end of it. It very well could be. But I am going to go with France to win. Pavlos, give us your winner.
I'm going to take Argentina to win, and it's really funny because that guy, when Saudi Arabia beat them in the first match day, he was saying, "What is Messi? What is Messi? Here is Messi. He's going to the final. He's probably going to win it. So here is Messi."
Argentina for Pavlos. Nick, give us your World Cup winner.
Argentina. Listen, the one of only two teams that have led in chances created and expected goals in every game they've played this tournament. The only other team was Brazil, but Croatia took them out. And I look at the England-France match, and I was on England in that game, and I know it was the right side. England they had so many chances. They were dominating that game in so many different ways. France did what they've done. It was a screamer by two of many that got them, what they needed in the first half, and then Giroud, hit that header late in the second half to get the winner. But they were getting up a lot of chances, and it worries me with Argentina as they've proven that they create a lot of chances. I just think they're more clinical, obviously with Messi leading that charge, and Alvarez, who's been a fantastic newcomer for them. They just look a little bit scarier. So I like Argentina, and I'll throw out there, I think Argentina to score a penalty is a pretty good play. There's been 4 of them awarded to them. Obviously, Messi has taken them all. He scored 3 of them, plus 600. Since VAR's intervened, 2018 was the most penalty kicks ever in a World Cup with 29. This year is number 2 of all time with 20. I don't know how that correlates to past odds. 5 World Cups ago, if this bet was 10-1, I'm sure there's relation to the value. But there are more of them given, and Argentina seems to be the one that's getting them all. And Kevin seems to think there's a lot of shenanigans going on with the refs trying to award Messi some penalty kicks. So I like that, and I'll go 6-1 on Argentina, get a penalty, and win that World Cup.
All right, Nick. So we have 2 for Argentina. We have 1 for France. We're going to leave the final word to the man known as the Irishman, the man known as the King of Spain, and now the man known as Scrooge McDuck. Kevin Dolan, give us your winner of the World Cup.
King of Spain. I missed La Liga already. Thankfully, it's coming back. I'm going to make it a draw. I'm going to make it all even. I like France. Look, there's a reason. I took a future on France. I don't have a future in Argentina. So a lot of that was to do with the draw and how they were going to progress. But nonetheless, I think France are the stronger team. But I am very nervous about what Nick mentioned. I can't help. I'm very suspicious by nature, and there's a part of me that believes that the officiating really wants Messi to live. It would be a boost to Qatar, and obviously, the Qatar World Cup was the one that Messi won the World Cup. So there's that part of me that thinks a lot of the soft calls are going to go Argentina's way. But if it's a straight game, I think France are the better team, and I do like them, and hopefully they do get those back-to-back titles this weekend.
All right, there you have it. 2 for France, 2 for Argentina, and our producer with the tiebreaker screaming in my ear, allez-vous. So allez-vous, he's going for France. So there they are, guys. I'm on France. Nick and Pavlos on Argentina. Kev is with me on France. Mbappe. Let's do it, our producer says. Guys, December 22nd, Thursday, December 22nd, 10 a.m., our last show of the year, we will cover the Boxing Day games in the EPL, and then we're going to pack it in, and we'll be back in 2023. We really appreciate you all tuning in each and every Stoppage Time episode. We wish you happy holidays if you're unable to tune in on the 22nd. Good luck with your wagers, and enjoy the World Cup on Sunday. We'll see you Thursday, December 22nd.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.